We turn to top-flight football in Jamaica. The Jamaica Premier League served up yet another scintillating edition of Monday Night Football as two games wrapped up Match Week 19. Gerard Morris-Sealy has a recap of the action.
Match Week 19 had already provided some electrifying action before four teams who had much to fight for converged at the Tony Spalding Sports Complex in Arnett Gardens for the last two games of the round. First up, Molynes United, who were coming off a 4-0 win in the last round against an unfortunate Chapelton Maroons team who seemed resigned to relegation. And Molynes started the match exactly like a team brimming with confidence, opening the scoring through a set piece. Javon Brown putting in a pinpoint cross, which Jeremy Nelson helped himself to. Molynes continued looking dangerous, and Brown was again the creator, this time setting up the other Nelson brother for a tap-in, Nicholas Nelson, with his second goal of the season. And they weren't done yet. Jeremy Nelson playing in an inch-perfect pass over the top for Jason Wright to convert for his 8th goal of the season.
What a beautiful goal that was from Molynes United. And Jason Wright did no wrong in getting his 8th this season.
Alex Thomas certainly pleased his Molynes team up 3-0 at the break. Chapelton would start the second half with some verve, and they were rewarded with Mark Lewis getting on the score sheet. But that's about as much joy as they would get. Molynes comfortably winning this one 3-1. Next up, another spirited relegation-threatened team, Faulkland, versus a team with serious title aspirations in Cavalier. And to the surprise of many, it was Faulkland who opened the scoring. A lazy attempt at a header by national player Richard King, capitalized on by Jelani Nicholson, who powered home a left-footed shot. That's how the first half would end, but Cavalier started the second like a house on fire. And speaking of fire, Dwayne Atkinson scorched the net with a blazing free kick to level the score at 1-1.
That was brilliant from Dwayne Atkinson. All the power on that one cannot be described.
However, Faulkland stayed poised and took the lead yet again through substitute Rondell Thomas, who raced in on goal and chipped a helpless Jadine White in the Cavalier goal. Faulkland probably thought that would be good enough to win it, but Cavalier yet again equalized, this time in the 92nd minute, Ronaldo Robinson scoring for the second consecutive week, rescuing a point for Cavalier.
Ronaldo Robinson, who has come off the bench to make the difference.
Faulkland's Jelani Nicholson got the nod for player of the match.
First of all, this morning I tell my teammates I'm getting ready for my interview because I'm going to get the man of the match, and I was my first goal today. And guess what? It happened, and it was a very crucial goal. Unfortunately, we didn't get the 3 points, but we work and we'll come again.
That's all she wrote for match week 19. 26 goals across all games, now the highest scoring round of the season. Harbourview and Tivoli drew 2-2. Mobile United and Vere United played out a 3-3 draw. Arnett Gardens scored in the 99th minute to snatch a 1-1 draw versus Humble Lion. Portmore United dispatched of Dunbeholden 3-1, while Waterhouse scored a huge 2-0 win over Mount Pleasant. Arnett continued to sit in pole position with Cavalier and Mount Pleasant right behind, albeit Mount Pleasant have a game in hand. Harbourview and Waterhouse continue to surge up the table, occupying 4th and 5th position respectively. Portmore leapfrogged Dunbeholden into 7th place, inching closer to the playoff places. Not much changing below that, however. Chapelton Maroons and Faulkland still ingrained in the relegation zone.
Our in-house football analyst, Leger Williams, joins us. So, Leger, all of the top 3 dropped points this match week. Are there weaknesses being found out?
Yeah, I guess you could say that, especially in the case of Mount Pleasant. I've been on here several times and I've said that I think that Mount Pleasant rely a lot on their quality to get over teams. It's just their quality that are overpowering certain teams. But then now when they're facing teams that have a good tactical plan and a lot of quality as well, they've been found wanting. In their last 2 games, they drew with Cavalier, which was a very tight encounter. And then now they didn't play last week against Portmore. But even then I suspect that Portmore could have gotten a result. And then now they play Waterhouse, which we know is a team that's very well coached and they have quality as well, and they lost 2-0. In the case of Arnett, I wouldn't be too worried because I think Arnett struggles to play against low blocks. That's been proven, and that's what happened again. They drew against Mobile United, they drew again this week. in the case of Cavalier, they are a young team. I think this was always going to be an issue for them in terms of getting over the line in some instances. But in the case of Cavalier, I wouldn't be too worried either, because I think tactically, they're one of the better tactical teams in the league, and tactics always win out eventually once you have the quality to back it up as well. But I would be worried more so about Mount Pleasant than any of the other big three teams.
Right, and we saw that draw between Cavalier and Faulkland. Of course, happy for Jelani Nicholson, who got his first goal for the season. So, enough to give him confidence. Cavalier, though, they would be very, very disappointed in not being able to walk away with all 3 points. They had 19 shots, 10 on target. They looked like if, they were equipped to take all 3.
Yeah, that's what I was saying about tactics. Cavalier showed that they were the better team. They dominated the game. Faulkland had 2 chances. They scored 2 goals. Cavalier had a myriad of chances. They could only get 2 goals out of the game. That is snatched one extremely late. The Ronaldo Robinson one that we saw here. So, as I said, when it comes down to having good tactics, it's always going to equate having more chances if you get the advantage over a team, but it's just for the players to execute. So, with Cavalier, they'll be hoping that their players execute most times, especially in the playoffs. So, that'll be something to look out for.
Yeah, Leger, towards the bottom half of the table now. We were having a conversation earlier on because Faulkland and Chabberton have been for a long time the bottom 2. But Faulkland now find themselves within 5 points of 12th place Veer United, who are on a 6-game winless run, including 4 losses. Is it possible that Faulkland, with their improved form, could climb up and displace Veer, and Veer run into relegation problems?
I've been very vocal in saying that I don't think that will happen, but I might have to trace back, I might have to go back on my word, because Veer, I thought that their defense would carry them through, but over the past couple of weeks they've been conceding so many goals. They conceded 4 a couple of weeks ago, 3 again this week, and it was their defense. They had at one point the 3rd best defense in the league, and Faulkland are just grinding out results. This isn't the only big scalp that they've gotten in terms of getting a point. They drew against Arnett Gardens as well. They've now drawn against Cavalier. They're just earning draws against some of the best teams in the division.
They actually drew with Humberland and Mount Pleasant as well.
Exactly. These are top 6 teams.
Yes.
So once again, maybe their issue could be once they play against teams in and around them, then that could cause them to, because they aren't the best at creating chances, and they'll need to create chances to beat those teams.
Yeah.
So maybe that's their issue. But in terms of getting results against bigger teams, they certainly seem to hold up pretty well defensively, at least.
Yeah, I guess Faulkland and Chabberton's goal difference, though, really a problem for them, because if Faulkland end up joining Veer on points, their goal difference is significantly inferior. So maybe that would be a problem for them. But I guess time will decide whether that happens or not, Liz.
Yeah, well, Leger, that's all the time we have. You'll be back another day.
Of course. Always.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's break time. Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news, and entertainment.